and welcome to Amethyst Style Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today I'm using up some of my Brights 6x6 pack. You always find at the end of a catalogue, before the new catalogue starts, that you have lots of bits of DSP over, and you think, do I keep it, do I use it? But there will be always lovely patterns coming out, so I thought, right, we're going to use some of this. And I'm going to use 2 sheets, so you can use 2 sheets of any colours you want. Now, I've looked and I've thought, well, I would probably match something like those 2 would work well. Those 2 would work well, and they're bright, they're different, and those 2 would work well. But I think I'm going to choose the green and the yellow for today, and we are going to cut these down to make several cards because I want to get the absolute most out of these. So we need to get our paper trimmer out first of all, and the cuts are going to be exactly the same on both ones. Now, you might have to adjust them a bit if you're using international. I'm using A4 cardstock cut in half to do my card blank, so that size works for me. So the first one, we've got the script running through on this side, or we've got that pattern. I want to use this script. So I'm going to cut it down at 3 3¾ inches. Down like that. And then I'm going to turn it and do it at 5½ because that will fit on my card perfectly. Okay. And we are going to be using all of these pieces. Okay, so we've got this piece, and then we need to cut this piece down as well to 5½. So you end up with 3 pieces, and we can use all of them. So that's our first one. Okay, so we have 4 pieces, 2 big pieces and a little piece. So the next one, I'm going to use this pattern on this side. It really doesn't matter which one you use. So 3¾ inch. Cut that down that way. Turn it and cut it at 5½ inches. So we've got these pieces, and then this piece down at 5½ as well. Make sure I've got that right, as I'm up at a bit of an angle. And I hope you've been able to see that actually. I didn't even check my camera, but I think, yes, you can. Good, that's all right. Okay, so that's all of the cutting that we're going to do. And we then have one piece that we can use. Okay, one piece that we can use that way. The other piece is going to go in, which will fit perfectly on here. And then this piece is going to go in perfectly on there. The 2 pieces that we've cut, we can have one that's going to go across that way, and we can have the other one which is going to go across that way. Okay, so that gives us our template. These 2 pieces here, we are going to, and we can do this very quickly with those, we're going to cut just a little flag. So just up the centre, down in on the side, and down in on the other side. Okay, and then this one. So we can use those pieces for a at a later stage. Because as I say, waste not, want not. So the only little bit of waste that we're going to have from this is those tiny little pieces, which I am going to throw away. So these will work as little tags that you can put on, or you can put them, you know, as a banner or something later on. I don't think I'm going to have time to do that on there. Okay, so now we've got these two pieces. We have got on each of one of them the underside piece that is going to be covered with this cardstock, which we can then do quite a lot with. So I've thought that we could do, with one of them we can do flowers. So I've got the Floral Essence punch, and we can use the Floral Essence stamp set, and we can punch out some flowers out of one of them. So I think I'm going to use the yellow one for that. So if we move these out of the way, turn this over. Now we need to make sure, and the easiest way to do it is to just put a little tiny mark. So let me just get a pencil, and I'm going to just put a tiny mark just underneath so it doesn't show. So I'm going to bring it down just a tad, so I know that just about there is as far as I can go without it causing any problems at all. So let's do with this one. We've got this punch, and that should fit in quite nicely, which it will, and I will get a few out of there. So let's take, I want to take the stamp so that I can do a proper flower with it. But as I say, it's a way of using your DSP, but you're going to waste not, want not on anything. Okay, so let's put this one in on here. Need to give it a bit of a huff. It's been sitting in the warmth. Put it that way so that it's, whoops, put it that way like that. Okay, so colours for this, I think I'm going to tone in with, let's use Gorgeous Grape, because that's quite nice and dark, and I think that that will work perfectly. Okay, so I've got to work out where I need to put them. So let's ink this up first, and we can then do, sure we've got enough of a space and a gap and it's not going to come up too far. So we can have one, a little space, two. Now I think I should be able to get three, and I might have to turn it round a bit, but that's going to be fine because it's not going to come in the space. Three. Okay, so we've got three of those. Let me take my Simply Chamois and give that a clean off. Okay, and then we can, with that, quite easily, I'm just putting the stamp back in the case carefully, we can use the punch now, and we can just punch these ones out. It says me, I'm a bit wobbly just on that bit there, so I need to just be careful that I'm in the right position. There we go. That's one. Sure that's unlocked. Yes, it has. We're sliding about now. I normally do it when I'm down. I'm trying to do it in the light so that you can see it, but it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to line it up and get it accurately. That's the second one, and then this is going to be the third one, which is going to come in that direction. Okay, so we can go back to this now, and we've still can put this on here. It's not going to show, so that's going to go over the top like that. And we've made ourselves 3 flowers out of the pieces that are underneath, so that will work really well. Now the other one is in green, so what can I do with the green? I think I might do, because I can only get I can only get 1 flower out of this, so I could do a few leaves out of this one, couldn't I? That will be an idea, because that'll be quite simple to do. So let's, out of the other pieces that we've got, I'm going to have to stand up to get the leaf punch, or in fact probably the, let's do the sprig punch. I have to, excuse me, stand to get it out, because this is a bit sort of off the hoof. Okay, so this is the sprig punch, and I think on this one we'll use the pieces down the side here, and we know that that is, let's double check it on this one. So just check your punch. Yes, that'll fit perfectly. So we need to just go along here, and we can punch out some leaves. Oh yes, they're going to look quite pretty. And this is the nice sprig punch. So as I said, we're wasting absolutely nothing. We're making several cards from the designer series paper. Make sure that I'm not too near the edge on there. I think that should be right. Just take it as tight as I can. There we are. So we've managed to get 4 little leaves out of that one. Okay, let's put that punch out of the way for now, and then this piece can then go in on here. Okay, so we can put those pieces on straight away, because we don't have to really worry about those. You can choose whatever cardstock base you want, and decorate as much as you want. Oh, I think I might be getting a bit low on this glue. I should be all right. Little tiny weeny bits coming out of here now. Come on. You're going to last a little bit longer, aren't you? Oh, I might have to open a new one. Actually, I am going to open a new one, otherwise I'm going to be sitting here faffing about for ages. I've got one that's already opened, have I? Let me have a quick check and see. Ooh, I think I've got it on the other side. We're going to have to make do with this one. Let's give it a good... Oh, here it is. I knew I'd got one out just in case. Right. So let's just take this. There we are. That's better. Okay, so we can put this quite easily onto the side here, because that's going to fit perfectly. And again, if your card size is slightly different, then just adjust it so that it works on there. And then this one again, we can take this out of here, just doing around the edges so that it's not going to go into the pieces in the middle. And then we can put this one in on here. That up on there. Sure I've got that straight. Okay, so we've now got those pieces, and we've now got some flowers and leaves and things. Now, I have cut some pieces and some shapes to go on there, so I've used the where are they? me get this one out. It is the, no, that's not the rectangles. Hold on a second, let me just grab it out. Okay, this is the Stitched Nested Labels dies. And I used the, I think it was the largest and the second largest down. We'll do a double check because you need to know what I've been using. That's the large. Is that the largest? No, it's not the largest one then, is it? It's the second one down. Okay, so it's the second one down and the third one down. So not the largest, but the two next to them. Because I want the paper to be quite a bit of the focal. So you can use whatever you want. I will show you some other ideas that I've used. But we've, on this one, I've just run the first piece through an embossing folder. Any embossing folder you want, it's just to give it a little bit of a shape and a little bit of extra interest on there. So we can put this one down. Like that. And the quite nice thing about these ones is that they do nest quite nicely, so that you can put them in on there and you have a nice sort of nested piece. So this can go on either or. Probably, should we have it on this one or this one? Not sure. I want to put these flowers in the centre, so I think yes, the one with a bit more green on there. So with this, very easy. All we're going to do is to just put a little tiny bit of glue in the centre. And the purple probably wasn't the best colour, because the purple with the, let's offset it just slightly because I want to get 3 on. The purple and the yellow have made it sort of a little muddy, but it tones in all right. I think it'll be fine. So let's just put another little one in on here. And we'll put this one in on like that. Okay, we'll just leave it for a second to dry on there. So this piece we're going to put on, I'm going to glue this one on. So let's pop some glue in on here. You can line things up with your grid paper, which is quite good. I'm terrible. I tend to sort of eyeball everything, but it's and just center it on here. Now obviously the paper underneath it, you don't want it to be completely centered, because then it just looks a bit too contrived. I've just sort of done it so that it just works in on there. So let me just make sure I've got that straight. So we've got that piece in on here like that. We then have our strip to go across. So we're going to have our green strip to go across here like that. Now you'll have to put dimensionals on the sides because you've got the height. So let's get some little dimensionals out. Got a case with my dimensionals in, so I can get them out relatively easily. So those are large or standard, and I need some minis. So excuse it being on my lap, but it's the easiest place for me to, there we go, there's some minis. It's the easiest thing for me to do. I put them in, our cases are absolutely brilliant because they stack on a shelf perfectly. Okay, so we need just one on either side of here, and I'm going to put a mini actually. I don't think I need anything bigger than that, so we'll have a mini on one side just at the edge, just to make sure that it doesn't covers that height, and then we can just put a little bit of glue down the center so it just sticks in on that center piece. It does help if I take the dimensionals off, put them straight into my little bin. There we go. Okay, so this we want to go just straight across like this. Okay, so you've got your dimensional at the side, got the little piece in the centre. So that's that like that. Now our flower should have dried a bit. So you can just, with your fingernail, very gently just lift the petals up just a little bit. And I tend to do it when I've glued them together, because being a card, I don't want too much height. I just want a little bit. So that we can put in the centre like that. I don't know whether that's straight actually. Have I got that on a bit of a cockeye? No, I think that's fine. Okay, so we can put that piece in on here. We've got a couple of these little leaves that we can just poke in underneath. And I don't think I want to use all of them on this. I'm just going to use just a couple. Put them in like that. Yes, that'll be perfect. So I need to put this up with a dimensional. This will have to have one of the larger ones. And then we need to put those, now I can see the position of them, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of glue just on the back there. We had one that was about there, and the other one is going in the opposite direction. Like that. Then we can put our little flower in the centre, like that, and then we just need a faceted gem. So let me have a look and see where my, there we go, get my little faceted gems out, and we'll have a big one in the centre which will fit perfectly. Put it on the end of the scissors so that I can balance it, and we'll put that one in the centre there like that. There we go. So that's given us one pretty card doing it in that direction, and as I say, you haven't wasted anything on that side at all. So that's one of them. And let's have a look at the other one, which is, oh, haven't done the sentiment. Now, all I did was I went through with the classic label punch, and I just punched out a few different sayings. So I think for a very special someone will work beautifully on there. So I'm going to put that in on there. Do I want that up with a dimensional? Yes, I think I do. I think we'll have that up with 2 little minis, or 3 maybe little minis. Let's just put that in on here. So one in the middle, and one either side. There we go. And then I can put that in. I always say scraps. Use up your scraps, don't throw them in the bin. And what I tend to do is, if I've got a little tiny bit of white cardstock over, or any colour cardstock actually, I will try and do some little sentiments and then just keep them in a stack, because then you've always got them. And these are really rather pretty, so make sure that's sort of in the centre for a very special someone. Yes, I think that looks lovely. Okay, so let's work on the next one. The next one, we've got the leaves, haven't we? So we've got 2 leaves. I've got this on here, which I've already cut out again with the same ones, and I think I might do, let's do some, should we do some butterflies on this one? Because again, it's using a punch and things, isn't it? So let me find a little scrap. That's a bit of a scrap. Will that fit the butterflies in on there? We'll have to do it in two, but that's fine. That's fine. Always use up your scraps. Don't worry about what size they are, although I might just try and do it on. Have I got... yes, I've got a piece on here that I was using for something, so we'll do it on that one. So the butterflies, let's do the one that is more realistic as a butterfly, I think. So we'll take the butterfly out. Having to huff on them because I need to, if you wash them under the tap, then they get their sticky back again, but I haven't really done that on these. So I'm going to be using Memento for this one, because I'm going to colour them with the blends, because that'll be nice and easy to do. So just put that in there, and we'll put these two down there, and then I will clean that off later. I'm just going to put it out of the way for now. Then we need the two little tiny antenna. Again, if you haven't got this set, it's such a lovely set, it really is. You've got some lovely little sentiments in there as well, but it's beautiful. It really is. So let's just put the antenna on, and I was using Memento, wasn't I? Let me just put the Memento in on here. I need to turn it up the other way, don't I? Myself a bit more organised. Then we can have a look and see where the, from this one, put it in the centre. So we've got one on there, and then I'm going to stick that one back in there, and then the little one goes in on there. Oh, that was a little bit skew-iff, but never mind. Okay, so let's put those back in there like that. So that can go out of the way. I'm going to put these tiny ones back because they're very easy to lose. So I always try and put them back in the case so that then I don't lose those pieces. And I'm going to pop this one back in, and I'll give it a good clean later on, just so that it's, I know where it is and I don't end up losing it. Okay, so we've now got our butterflies. We've got our punch. Now we need to look at colours. Now, you can really tone it in with whatever you want. So I think I'm going to use, I might use blues actually. I do quite like, or purples. Let's have a blue butterfly this time. So I'm going to use the dark, what is it, Bermuda Bay. So let's just do round the edge like this. I do quite like colouring these butterflies with the blends, so we're just going to have a little bit on there. I did a video when they first came out showing everybody how to do colouring so it looked pretty realistic, and such a fun thing to do. So we always do in on the centre, and then round the side of the wings to start off with. And I have that in on the centre here. Okay. So we've got that. That's not really going to go perfectly with that colour there. So we've got Granny Apple Green on there. I'm going to do just a tiny little bit to just bring that in. So bring that out a bit. And by doing it and blending it with the other one, then it won't, it tones the Bermuda Bay, but also gives you a really rather lovely okay, so that's that. And then we wanted, let's take the yellow. So this is the dark. I don't know whether I can get that. Oh yes, it will. This is the dark Daffodil Delight because we want it quite sort of dark in on there. Oh, this looks quite a pretty tropical looking butterfly. But that looks quite pretty. That's quite, I say, sometimes it's quite fun to just sort of take a few different colours and play around with them and see what comes out. Now I'm not blending these too far into the green, I'm just going up to it, because otherwise if you go over it too much to blend it, you will end up with the whole lot being green, which is not what we want. So just take a little bit up through on here. Like that. Okay. I've got a little bit that hasn't shown on there. Do my little dot dot dotty. Okay, so now we can take the punch these ones out. Like that, without them flying about everywhere. There we go. There's a piece of paper that I'd use for something else. So that's got our butterflies in on there. Now, if we put those in like that on there, we probably need just a little something in the background, don't we? So, we've got the leaves, haven't we? Okay, let's have a go at putting those together and see what we think. That's better. Add that in here. And again, I've left this one plain because I didn't know whether I was going to actually stamp something on here or not. But I think I quite like the way they've come up a bit. Let's try and get that lined up as straight as I can. Not the best at lining things up under my bright lights, but we have a go. Now we're just going to glue this one again straight down. That, put that in on the center again, like that. And then we've got our little butterflies here. They work beautifully. We've got these little leaves, haven't we? Do I want to do something with them, or am I just going to see? What I could do is to have just a little bit of That might spoil it, I don't know yet. Let's have a look and see if we just have a little bit of a foliage that the butterflies are. Yeah, that might look all right actually. Let's have a little go. We need our piece to go across. This piece is the yellow piece, so that goes straight across on there. So we need just our two little dimensionals at minis at either end again. And our bit of glue down the centre to make sure it's going to stick. And then I will show you what I did with two of the other colours, which I did slightly differently. So you can sort of see the different looks that you can. I think I still did a butterfly, but I thought, well, I need to use this paper up, so let's do that down on there like that. Perfect. And we want the butterflies in. I like to have the large at the top and the small at the bottom. That's just my preference. Oops, put that there, that there. We've got a sentiment. What are we going to have on here? Thanks, friend. Thank you. Thanks. And what else have I got left? I think for you. I've got a for you. I've done so many thank you cards. I think a for you would work nicely. Yep, that'll work. So again, we're going to put the minis in on here. So one there and one either side. Like that. We can take those little pieces straight off into the bin. I'm off camera here because my little bin's just by the side of my desk, so I can put all the little pieces straight in there, because it's one of those things you then get them all over the desk, and I'm trying to be a little bit more organised, so that can go in on the centre there like that. Then we can have our butterflies, which will go up with the bigger one. And we need a little mini on there. It won't get up with that size. And I'm not sure about the leaves. Well, we'll have to see on the leaves. I might just tuck them in somewhere, but I'm not sure. So we'll have one up there like that. We'll have the other one down there like that. Then I could stick the leaf in like that and like that. I will glue it in. I'm still not completely convinced, but I think that probably just sets it off quite nicely. Okay, so those are how you can use just two pieces of your 6x6s if you're using them up in any of the, as I say, I use the brights, but in any ones you want. You've still got these little pieces over as well, which you can use for banners or to put on another card. And if you're making a few, I shall show you two that I made earlier on. So let's, I'm not going to actually stick all of these down at the moment. I'm just going to put them on rest them on a base so you can see them, which I haven't done flat. They're going to stick up in the air, but I've got a couple that are flat. So if we put these, I'd probably put them on white because I think white looks better, because you've got the white in the centre, and I tend to use a lot of white, as you know, because it's just easy. So that's one which I think's worked out quite well. Let me just fold this other one through. And then we can put that one on as well. And then I'll show you two that I did earlier on to just give you another idea. But I think that they look really quite good. I think it's a great way of using up your designer series paper when you've got pieces over. So that's sort of number 2. These were 2 that I did earlier, and I just did them with the 2 pinks. So this one I've actually stamped an image, and I did that with a crumb cake as a background, but just with a square one. So you've got that one. And then this one, again, I did butterflies, but I did it with a different sort of mat on there. So you've got those, which would then leave me 4 of these little tag pieces, which if I just very quickly just grab this and this to just give you the idea on it. I think I've got more than one piece on here, but never mind, that'll just go on there. You've then got these, which you could put quite nicely down three or even 4. Whoops. Let's put that down there, that down there. Okay, so once you've got a selection of them, I might even turn that one over so you've got a different pattern on there. But yeah, just put them down, put a nice little sentiment or something in at the bottom. I'm being a bit finicky, aren't I? Because I don't want the same pattern next to each other. There you go. You could have those that way round. Put a little sentiment on and you've got yourself another card. So we've wasted absolutely nothing. We've done ourselves a few cards. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well. Bye-bye.